I changed this one thing in my home and it fixed probably one of the biggest health risks to me and my family. And it's all to do with the humble cooker hood. I built this house 20 years ago. And for anybody that's built a house, you end up with this list of things you'd never quite get round to finishing off. And to my shame, one of those things was connecting up the cooker hood. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a decent enough cooker hood. The problem is, for the last 20 years, when you turn it on, it's just been blowing air back into the kitchen. But like a lot of us, I think, it's just a piece of equipment that exists in our kitchen. It makes a lot of noise if I ever do turn it on. And to be honest with you, I just don't think to use it day to day. And I'm supposed to care about this stuff, right? And that's the problem, I think. We just don't value them. Let's face it, the choices over what cooker hood to get are often just aesthetic. We want a nice metal or glass one to go with our modern sleek kitchen, or we want a wooden one to go with our country kitchen. But have you ever actually heard anybody ask what the technical specification of that product is? We just don't value them. And as such, neither do those that specify them or install them, frankly. And what we end up with are pieces of crap that make a lot of noise and don't do a very good job. And since I've gained more and more of an interest in this subject, and certainly started paying closer attention to the performance of cooker hoods that I go out and see in various different buildings, I can tell you I can count on one hand the amount of times in the last 5 years that I've seen one of them performing as I would like them to. So what's the problem? Well, surprisingly, what we do in a kitchen generates a lot of pollution. And over our lifetime, this can cause us a significant amount of harm. When we cook, we produce pollutants like fine particulate matter and VOCs and products from combustion. All of them can do us harm. In fact, our activities in the kitchen is probably one of the most significant contributors to our long-term health of any activity we do in our home. You see, when we superheat stuff, things like oils in foods, even the coatings and linings of the products we use, like pans and air fryers and toasters, all throw off lots of fine particles into the air. And the stuff that those particles contain are simply not good for us to breathe in. As an example, a recent study from Nottingham University that looked at the total harm of pollutants we find in homes found that 75% of all the harm that we experience in the spaces that we occupy come from particulate matter. And the source for a lot of that particulate matter comes from cooking activities. Now, I'm not saying for a moment that we shouldn't cook, and I really don't want to take away that experience of the smell of a bacon sandwich wafting up the stairs on a Saturday morning. But the fact of the matter is that what we do in our kitchens has a real impact on our health, and that risk, those pollutants, very easily spread around the rest of our property. And this is a real problem. Just take a look at these two charts from two sensors in my home where I turned off the cooker hood this week when we were cooking. You can see in both locations, one of them in this very office, down the hall from where the kitchen is, and from a bedroom upstairs, we can see during the time of cooking, particulate matter, so the fine particles that cause us risk, spiking in both locations. So the pollution that was being generated in the kitchen space is spreading around the property and taking hours to dilute. So during that time, anybody in this home is experiencing elevated levels of particulate matter and anything that those particles contain. And the problem is, fine particulate matter bypasses all of the defense mechanisms that we have in our respiratory tract and go deep into the lungs and directly into our bloodstream. And this is why breathing in particles is so dangerous for our health. So if I'm not saying don't cook your bacon sandwich, how do we stop this from happening? Well, the first line of defense is to extract these particles and other pollutants before they spread. And we do this with, guess what? A cooker hood. So this requires us valuing this humble cooker hood much more than we do. Well, I think we can describe what good looks like in 4 principal ways. And the first way we do that is to do exactly not what Muggsy here did for the last 15 years, and that is circulate the products of our cooking in the kitchen where the cooker hood is and extract that pollution straight to outside. The second one is capture efficiency. What do I mean by that? Well, capture efficiency is the efficiency of the cooker hood to capture all of the products of cooking as it's producing that pollution. The best way to picture it is a small rubbish cooker hood at the back of the cooker capturing about a third of the products of that cooking pollution. Or a decent cooker hood that covers the entire cooking area, capturing really effectively all of the steam and pollution that's being generated. We need to be moving much more air than we do, and that isn't helped by the quality of the installations that we see. We need to be pulling around 30 to 60 litres a second directly from above the cooking area in order for these things to be effective. And the fourth one is that those systems need to be able to do that without sounding like a jet engine taking off. If we're going to use them, we need to be able to hear ourselves thinking when they're on. And if we have all of these things in place, we then need to start creating the habits to start using them. We need to be able to think heat, think extract. Anything that creates very high temperatures, like frying, ovens, toasters, grilling, air fryers, all of these things create particles we do not want to be breathing in. So we have to start forming the habits that we start turning this product on more often. And while we're at it, if we're doing stuff that produces moisture, why not have it on as well? Now, not every kitchen has a cooker hood, but there are things that we can do to limit the spread of the pollution when we are cooking. And one of those things is to close the kitchen door and try and open a window if we can. Or if we manage homes or sell them, we need to start valuing these products more. I can't tell you the amount of new homes I've been in where they've had the worst possible piece of crap specified and installed on behalf of homeowners who spent God knows how much or a small fortune on their kitchen, never mind the home. Surely we can do better than the products that are being specified at the moment into these buildings. Or for tenants that don't get a choice. We need to be providing products that protect tenants' health. The fact of the matter is, the humble cooker hood could very well be the most important piece of ventilation equipment we have in our home. If you found this video interesting, you might like this one here.